Welcome to Phoenix and Flame, pushing through and transforming even when you feel like a pile of ash.
This podcast is not intended for use as psychotherapy. If you feel you are in crisis, please call 911 or contact your local crisis hotline. Welcome to Phoenix and Flame. I'm Dana, and this is my podcast on pushing through and transforming even when you feel like a pile of ash. Well, today is going to be a little bit different because I do not have a guest with me. I've discovered that I've missed some of the solo podcasting where I feel like it's just me and you, and we're talking about stuff and just covering topics and exploring ideas. And so I thought, I think I'd like to do just a solo episode. And I'm probably going to try to do more of these and intersperse them in between the wonderful interviews that I get to do with my lovely guests. Before I start on my topic for today, I wanted to update you a little bit on some things that are going on behind the scenes. So I'm still working full time as a psychotherapist, and I'm still keeping the podcast going. I'm loving it, loving my guests, and loving this opportunity to cover interesting topics and be real and funny and just be able to kind of connect with you. There's some other things that are cooking behind the scenes, and they have been for a few months, but these things apparently take a while. I'm working with a consultant group from Charleston, South Carolina, on rebranding and adding some online courses. And it looks like my first online course that I'm going to develop, and it's already in development process, is on boundaries. I'm very excited about this. I've created modules. I'll be recording video modules to go with those. That should be released to the public probably around September. I'm thinking I have to do a like a pilot run, a test run with some people first and kind of work out some kinks and that kind of thing. But that is coming, and that's exciting. Hopefully, that will possibly lead to some speaking engagements where I could do some workshops or seminars or other such things that would be great fun for me to do. And so there's just a lot cooking going on. I'm also working on, I have these wonderful people that are helping me to improve not only my Phoenix and Flame website, that's in the process of being rehabbed. It was good before, but now that I've grown and I have so many episodes now, and I have these other ideas like the online courses that are coming, the speaking engagements that are coming, these other things that we need to kind of shift it up and do some different things to the website. And also, my social media sites are being rehabbed. I will be the first to say that I am just not good at the social media, and I need to be better at that because I want to feel like I'm connected to you. I want to be able to have a platform where we can connect in chat form or whatever, leaving comments and that kind of thing. And really, something I'm going to do today is going to be kind of venturing into that area, even though my Facebook, my Phoenix and Flame Facebook site is still in the rehabbing process. I'll just ask for your patience and your grace as I kind of upgrade things and kind of rehab them. It's kind of like when you have a house and you really like your house, but you've kind of outgrown it. And so you need to expand and you need to create some more rooms and you need to improve the rooms you have to accommodate maybe your growing family or your growing items in your house or whatever the case may be. And so for a while, it sounds kind of crazy. I mean, you've got people in there with saws and drills and hammers and demoing stuff. And for a while, it looks and sounds and feels crazy. And I'm not going to lie, I have felt kind of crazy at different times because I'm so excited about the vision for what is going to happen with with my brand and what I'm going to be able to offer. At the same time, it's kind of you I feel kind of like ass over elbows sometimes, just not really knowing exactly what's going on. And of course, that's the role of the consulting firm. They're the ones that know how to do all that stuff, and so they've been putting me through it. Let me tell you, in a good way, but it's been hard at times, and I imagine it will be for a while. Much like standing in your house, and you know it's a good thing that it's being expanded, that it's being rehabbed, but you're still standing there with like sawdust coating your skin and the sounds of hammers and drills everywhere and holes in the walls, and you're looking around like, what was I thinking? And I have to be honest and say, I've had those moments like, Dana, what were you thinking? You can't do this. You don't have the energy for this. And to be honest, for those of you that know that my background is in spirituality, is I'm a Christian, and I have just been leaning on God so much and just, Lord, say this is I'm saying this was his idea from the very beginning. And I think I just can't when I think I just can't do it anymore. I'm not going to have the energy to do it anymore. Somehow it shows up, and I have nothing else to contribute that to, or attribute that to, rather than to God, because this was his idea and he's seeing it through. The doors are opening. It's just kind of crazy how things are happening. But it's exciting and it's scary and it's overwhelming and it's all of these things. So just kind of wanted to let you know that's what's going on. So, what's going to happen in these next few months and really the remainder of this year, there's just going to be a lot of changes going on. Another thing that I have in the works is I would like to develop a video component. And I know in the past I did have some of my podcast episodes uploaded to YouTube, and they're sitting there. There's some of the older episodes. You're welcome to go watch them if you want. But I'm trying to get better and learn from others that are ahead of me in this process and that are doing better than me, that know more, they've been involved longer. And so I'm excited about that. Again, still it's kind of overwhelming. Not going to lie, there's been a few times I've just kind of wanted to run away. But somehow I'm not in Tahiti right now. I'm still in my hometown. So I think that's a good thing. I haven't run off to Tahiti and changed my name and colored my hair and got a little tiki hut selling suntan lotion. Does it sound like I put a little bit of thought into that? There's been times where I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm leaving. I'm just leaving the country. But somehow, and again, I give God the credit for this because I don't know how I've been able to continue without him. And so he continues to motivate me and give me what I need, because in my weakness, he is strong. And let me tell you, he has had multiple opportunities to be strong in this process, and it's not done. It's exciting. It's continuing. And so hopefully 6 months from now, 9 months from now, it's going to be a really different, wonderful landscape where there's going to be a lot of opportunities available for different people. I'm I'm hoping that I'll be able to reach more. Like, for example, with the online boundaries course, there's a lot of people that have boundary issues. And I'm such a fan of boundaries because I started to learn in my private practice how many issues are created by boundary problems. And so I started to just really, really become a boundary advocate. Not only have I been a boundary advocate in my own life for my own personal reasons, that boundaries have just saved my life, but also being really that champion for my patients. And now I hopefully get to offer online courses that anyone that has internet access can go to my website when we get it launched up there and can there's going to be some free stuff. Of course, all the podcast episodes are free, but there'll also be some other free things, and there'll be some different price points and things to accommodate, wherever anybody is. So there's a lot of stuff coming, but I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on all of that. And so, say all that to say, if I say something crazy today, I'm using that as my excuse. I already have my excuse in the bag if I start this solo podcast episode and just say something really whack. And, if I do, I do. And that's life, isn't it? We have to be real. That's one of the things that I wanted to make sure was premier in my podcast was we have to be honest, and we have to be honest with our weirdness and our frailties and our faults and our failures and all these kinds of things, and just say, yeah, we're all like that. We're all struggling and we all have insecurities, and we can do it together. It feels better doing it together than feeling like you're all alone. Well, let me go ahead and seg into what I wanted to chat about today. I was reading our local newspaper a few days ago, and there was an article in there about a woman who has what she'll call a rock garden in her yard. Now, what her rock garden is she takes various sizes and shapes of rocks and she paints them when the mood strikes her. She paints them in encouraging, cheerful ways. Sometimes there'll be a daisy painted on the rock. Sometimes there will be a message there, like, you can do it, stay happy, whatever comes to her, she paints it on the rock. And then she creates this little rock garden that she has set in her yard that's close to the road. So as people walk by, walking along the road, maybe doing their evening walk after supper or whatever the case may be, they are encouraged. And I'm assuming she has a little sign there. I'm pretty sure she does that says, feel free to take a rock with you. And so people can go down and they can find one that they feel like really is encouraging to them, depending on where they are in their life, what struggles they're dealing with, and they'll take that rock with them, and they can put it in their pocket to wrap their fingers around if they're struggling in a moment, or they can put the rock on their desk or on a shelf in their office, or take it home wherever they need to see it to have some encouragement. And as I got thinking about that rock garden, I got to wondering, what if we did that kind of a thing more intentionally as people, as individuals? What if we would have a word of encouragement to someone and reach out to other people with a smile, or a pat on the back, or a please, or a thank you, or I appreciate you, or you look really nice in that outfit, or I see you got a new haircut, it looks really good on you, or look, you got a new pair of glasses, they look very striking on you, or anything like that. Or I saw you teach class the other day. I thought you did a fabulous job. Or I mean, there's so many things we could say to people. I just kind of got to wondering why we aren't more intentional about this. And I feel like that you're like me and we're all the same, in that I'm willing to bet that most of you who are listening don't really run into that regularly, where someone has given you a word of encouragement or complimented you. And the thing of it is, when it does happen, it just kind of sticks with you for the rest of the day. Sometimes for days after that, you just kind of remember back to that person saying that you looked nice that day. And it just totally struck you by surprise. And your heart just kind of swells and warms. It's like your whole body just feels like it's wrapped up in a nice warm blanket. So I got to thinking, why don't we do this more often? I know it happens occasionally, but it doesn't happen nearly enough. And so let's think about that. Okay, what stops us from doing this? What stops us from being more intentional? And I decided to just really hover over this and put some thought into it. Well, one thing that came to my mind is time, because a lot of us are racing around like we're going Mach 2 with our hair on fire, and we just feel like we don't have the time. We're rushing from one thing to another, to another, to another. And while we're doing one thing, we have five other things in queue in the back of our mind that's waiting for us when we finish with this thing. And so it's this sensation that we never have time. Another thing that came to mind is, you know, we might be embarrassed to go up to a stranger and say something to them about their hair or their clothes or something we've observed about them when they don't even know us. That might be kind of embarrassing. That's another reason why we might not do that. Another thing I thought of is sometimes we can get quite self absorbed. Sometimes people are that way and it's on a pathological level. And other times, it's not that we mean to be self absorbed, it's just that we have so much to do. We're so wrapped up in our own thoughts and our own feelings and our own to do list that other people don't really break the surface of our consciousness. We're so wrapped up in our own stuff. That could easily be another reason why we don't do this more often. And the last thing I thought of is maybe we think that other people are not going to really care what our opinion is. I mean, why would someone care if I thought their dress looked nice or they did well in a presentation or if their hair looked nice? I mean, what if they looked at me like, so? Why they wouldn't say it necessarily out loud, or they might, but they might think or have that look on their face like, why are you talking to me? I don't care what you have to say. And so some of us kind of have this feeling that our feelings, our opinions about things and people don't really matter that much to others. And so why verbalize them? Because nobody really cares. So those are, let's see, one, two, three, those are four things. Yeah, four things that I came up with that I thought might prevent us and obstruct us from being more intentional about being encouraging to other people, doing sort of like a human rock garden or being a human rock garden to other people. And so I'm like, okay, I'm the kind of person that let's break it down and let's address these issues. So let's go back to the time thing. Yes, the vast majority of us are extremely busy. Now, some of us aren't so much. There are different chapters in life, are there not? There are different seasons. And so some of us are in extremely busy seasons of life. And there are other people that are at seasons where they have more time. But the majority of people are quite busy. They find ways to fill up their time and they overcommit to things and they just feel like they can't quite get everything done. And that's really behind a lot of stress that we have. But I'm going to challenge this a little bit because how much time would it really take to say to someone, "Hey, that color looks really good on you"? How much time did that just take me to say that? 5 seconds? Even if you tripled it, 15 seconds? We actually do have time to do this. We feel like we don't, but we do. We have the time. So let's check that off the list. That's not something that's a legitimate argument against doing this because we actually do have the time. All right, the second thing is embarrassment. We're going to be embarrassed. They're going to look at us funny. I'm not used to talking to people I don't know. What are they going to say? I'm socially awkward. And these are all legitimate concerns, right? So, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? If you feel like you're socially awkward, if you feel like an introvert and you're embarrassed and you don't really want to go to somebody that you don't even know, maybe you see someone out and about, say you're at the grocery store and you look at someone and you're really admiring their glasses and you're thinking, well, they look really nice with those glasses. I'd like to have a pair myself, but you don't know that person. They're a stranger. So you're feeling all these, you're thinking these thoughts about their glasses, but the thought of telling them makes you feel really shy and embarrassed and kind of a little cringy. Okay, so what is the worst thing that's going to happen within reason? All right, so you walk up to the person and you say, I really like your glasses. You don't have to say any more than that. You don't have to elaborate. You don't have to go on and explain a bunch of stuff. Just say, I really like your glasses. What's the worst thing that can happen within reason? That they might just stare at you? They might just walk off? I mean, what are they going to do? More than likely, they're going to say, thanks. Okay. Because they're probably feeling a bit awkward because we don't compliment each other hardly at all. Quite frankly, virtually none of us are used to being complimented or encouraged on a regular basis. That's the whole point of this podcast. So they're probably going to be feeling as awkward as you. So that's a good thing to do when you're feel like yourself kind of holding back, like you're embarrassed, you have some fear of doing something. Within reason, what is the worst thing that is really going to happen? And if that person looked at you and went, okay, so what? Your arms and legs aren't going to fall off. Your teeth aren't going to fall out. Your eyes aren't going to come out on stalks. So what? You might feel a little weird. You just walk away. 10 minutes later, it's a done deal. You see what I'm saying? So, I think we can overcome that hurdle as well. So, on to number 3, our self absorption. That is something that we could try to intentionally mitigate. We can try to notice other people. Pull out of your own head once in a while. And really, you might notice that that's rather nice to not be in your own head, because can we just be real and say that our heads sometimes can be pretty scary places to be? Not very comfortable in there sometimes. And so you might notice that pulling out of your own head and paying attention to people around you might be a nice little break from your own thoughts. So look around at the people that are in front of you, maybe on the subway, maybe in the grocery store, maybe at work, at school, wherever you happen to be. Notice people around you. If you see something that you could encourage someone about, something that they're doing, that you think they're doing well, tell them. Even if it's something as simple as someone's penmanship. I have totally complimented people on their penmanship before because mine is bad. And so I always admire someone's ability to write so neatly. I just can't figure out how to do that. So it's just like, notice what someone's doing, notice what someone's wearing, anything like that you admire, or a word of encouragement to someone. And like I said, back to time, it wouldn't take you 5, 10, 15 seconds to do that. You just have to come out of your own head, which again, like I said, probably would be a vacation anyway, and notice the people around you. So now to the 4th one, this idea that we have that people really don't care what we think anyway, so why should we voice our opinion? I can see how a lot of us would feel this way, mostly because of things that we've been through growing up, experiences that we've had where we have felt sort of relegated, marginalized, pushed aside. But what's also true is that all of us are starving, all of us need to be encouraged. And so your opinion does matter, especially when it's an opinion of encouragement. When you're looking for a way to say something nice to someone, to make them feel encouraged, lift them up, your opinion does matter. Now, they may not tell you that, but I can just about guarantee you that if you pull out of your own head, you take 5, 10, 15 seconds and you focus on people around you and you just pick like one person and say something to them, I can just about guarantee you that they will be thinking about that in a very warm, fuzzy way that might sustain them for days to get through some really icky, nasty trials and situations they have to face. And they can like pull out your little nugget of compliment, your little nugget of encouragement to give them a little more energy to push through, to push forward when they really just want to give up. When they might feel like they don't matter. And you complimenting them on something might really help them get through that day. So here is my challenge. My challenge is to you who are listening to this podcast and to myself, is to try to do this one time, over the next week or so. Whenever you happen to hear this particular podcast, because I know different people are going to be hearing it at different times. Whenever you happen to hear this podcast over the next week or so, try to compliment or encourage one person one time, and then go to my Facebook page. Now, I'm pretty sure it's called Phoenix and Flame by Dana Skaggs. Danaskaggs. And I say that sounds so weird, but I say that because I have not been really huge in being on top of the social media stuff. Now I'm changing that and I'm learning, I'm getting better. So please have patience with me. And I so appreciate your grace as I, knock out those walls and, expand and improve, and that will get better. But I really would like for you to go to my Facebook page, Phoenix and Flame by Dana Skaggs, and put a comment on there about what your experience was like. What did you do? Where were you? Who was the person? Did you know them? Were they a stranger? What did you say? How did they respond? How did you feel about it? I would love to hear your all's experiences with this. A good, bad, ugly, whatever. Let's all pull together, and we can also read each other's experiences, and I can put some of mine on there. And it would just be fun to see what all different creative things that we can come up with to say and to do, and encourage each other also if we're trying to work through some of these obstacles and we still have some fears and some stressors about doing that. Put your experience on my Facebook page, Phoenix and Flame by Dana Skaggs, and I will try again. There'll become a time where I will really be on top of this, that's in the future, where I'm really looking forward to being able to connect with you and us making comments back and forth. That's just going to be wonderful. I'm so looking forward to that. But the consultant group in Charleston is working with me. So that's coming, but we're still kind of in the rehabbing phase. So please have grace. But if you could do that, I just think that would just be awesome. So I hope that something that I've shared today has helped you in some kind of way. And I want you to know that I appreciate your time in listening to my podcast. I know that there are a lot of podcasts out there, and you could be listening to any number of podcasts, and you probably have several that are your favorites. I want you to know that I appreciate you and the time that you take to listen to my podcasts, and the effort it takes for you to bring it up, to put, whether it's iTunes or Spotify or Deezer, if you're doing it on your laptop, if you're listening while you're driving, if you're listening while you're doing laundry or walking or running or just hanging out at your house drinking a glass of wine. It took effort and intention for you to pull up my podcast and to listen to my episode. And I want you to know that that is noticed and so appreciated. And if you have anyone in your life, whether it's a friend or a coworker or a family member, anyone that you think of that would really enjoy listening to any of the podcasts that I've launched up to this point, and also this one, please tell them. Whether you send them a text or an email or just call them up on the phone or put it on your favorite social media platforms and get it out there so we can grow our Phoenix and Flame community. Now, the last thing I'll say is my plan moving forward is, up to this point, I have been launching an episode every other Sunday. And for quite a while now, they have been mainly interviews, because interviews are fabulous. It's just amazing the wonderful people that I get access to through podcasting, and getting to listen to their stories and benefiting from their wisdom and their experiences. But I'm also going to try, as my rebranding process continues, to incorporate more of the solo podcasts, like what I did today, and hopefully maybe intersperse those so that I will have a podcast being launched every week. That's the plan. It'll probably take me a few months to kind of get that going, but that's what I would like to do. So hang in there with me. I appreciate it. And I hope that wherever you are right now, that you're having a wonderful day. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. This is Dana on Phoenix and Flame.